During an era in which many exceptional talents graced the prize ring, fighters such as young Corbett III, Lou Ambers, Jackie Kid Berg, Billy Petroli, Baby Joe Gans, Tony Canzoneri, and Seferino Garcia, two men stood tall above the rest. This is a tale of how a pair of prize fighters from entirely different backgrounds found themselves on a collision course, bound by a destiny that would one day see them meet between the ropes. Born in New York City on December 23, 1909, to a Jewish family consisting of a Belarusian father and an American mother, Beryl David Rosovsky started boxing at the age of 14 after abandoning his ambitions of becoming a Talmudic scholar in the wake of his father's murder. Following his relocation to Chicago and a pro debut on August 31, 1929, Ross racked up a record of 43 wins, with only 2 losses and 2 draws, including a 24-fight win streak, en route to a shot at Hall of Fame legend Tony Canzoneri's world lightweight title. In a hotly contested, tense battle, Ross, the underdog, won over 2/3 of the judging panel and took home Canzoneri's world title belt along with the majority decision. After such an important win, Barney Ross was instantly elevated to the top of the professional prize-fighting scene, arguably the best of the little men that the sport had to offer. Arguably. Just 1 month prior to Ross's decision win over Tony Canzoneri, an Irishman by the name of Jimmy McLarnin continued to make his own noise throughout the boxing world. James McLarnin was born on December 19, 1907, in Hillsborough, Ireland, to Irish Methodists before emigrating to Vancouver at age 3. He first dabbled with the sport of boxing at 10, before beginning to take it seriously at the age of 13. Following up on his great successes as an amateur fighter, Jimmy's professional career began on his 16th birthday, where he fought as a flyweight. He then used the next decade to climb the weight classes, defeating world-class opposition as he went along. An incredible 9 Hall of Fame fighters fell at the hands of the baby-faced assassin, culminating in his world title-winning effort against young Corbett III, just before Ross's famed victory over Canzoneri. Having overcome both the main man in the 135-pound division in Tony Canzoneri and number 1 ranked welterweight Billy Petroli on 2 occasions, Barney Ross found himself next in line for a shot at Jimmy McLarnin and his welterweight title. In what was a huge ethnic clash, a 60,000-strong crowd turned out to witness the lightweight champion of the world take on the welterweight champion of the world at a filled-to-capacity Madison Square Garden Bowl in New York on May 28, 1934.
Main event for the World Welterweight Championship title. Presenting first, the world's popular lightweight champion, Barney Ross of Chicago. The holder of the welterweight title, fighting Jimmy McLarnin.
The fight unfolded how many had expected. It was a close affair which saw McLarnin trying his damnedest to press the action and land his crushing straight right hand, while Ross jabbed off the back foot and landed countershots. The heated action reached a boil in round 9 as both fighters kissed the canvas. This proved to be the only time in his entire 81-fight career that Barney Ross, the pride of the ghetto, would hit the deck. Ultimately, though, the fighter with terrific pure boxing skills and excellent ring smarts was able to use his tools to greater effect than McLarnin's crowd-pleasing, power-punching style.
Judges have disagreed and referee's decision makes a no welterweight champion.
There was no time for Ross to bask in the glory of his biggest career victory to date, as a rematch was soon agreed upon for September 17th of the same year. The Garden Bowl again was to be the venue. Yet another rugged 15 rounds were fought in a similar vein to their first meeting. However, this time it was McLarnin who came away as the split decision victor, regaining the title he had already both won and lost in his previous two outings. With the spoils shared at one fight apiece, a rubber match was inevitable. Exactly 1 year to the day of their first fight, Jimmy McLarnin and McLarnin-Ross squared off for a third and final time. At the climax of another grueling 15-round battle, a fight perhaps even more brutal than their first two, the boxing world witnessed the continuation of the famous welterweight title jinx in the 1930s, which saw none of the last 12 world welterweight champions successfully defend their title. McLarnin-Ross was once again declared welterweight champion of the world. Despite losing via unanimous decision, McLarnin went to his grave believing that he had done enough to retain his world title. As they had done before meeting in the ring, the lives of both McLarnin and Ross traversed completely different paths. McLarnin fought thrice more in his illustrious career and retired on a high after a pair of back-to-back wins over Tony Canzoneri and Lou Ambers. This saw his victory count over Hall of Fame fighters reach an astounding 12. Following his retirement from the prize ring in 1936, McLarnin saved his fortunes earned in boxing and lived a long and happy life with his wife Lillian and 4 children, before passing away at the grand age of 96 on October 28, 2004. Unlike McLarnin, the remainder of Ross's life was filled with various ebbs and flows. In the aftermath of his victory over the Irishman in their third bout, Ross went on a 17-fight winning streak, including a second-round knockout victory over Baby Joe Gans and a 3-0 shutout in a series with future middleweight champ Seferino Garcia. However, Ross encountered one stern test too many and was brutally beaten into retirement by the great Henry Armstrong.
And your world's welterweight champion, Armstrong.
Following Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, Ross felt it was time he fought once again. Only this time, it was to be for his country. The 3-weight world champion was awarded the Silver Star and a presidential citation for his heroics in the Battle of Guadalcanal. But his addictive personality, which in the past saw him blow entire fight purses on gambling, reared its head once again as he found himself addicted to morphine while being treated for war wounds during a spell in a hospital. At its peak, Ross was said to have spent $500 a day trying to fuel his addiction. Despite squandering the entirety of his in-ring earnings, he worked actively to get himself clean from all habits and to spread the word on the dangers of drug use. In 1966, McLarnin-Ross was diagnosed with cancer of the throat, and after several months of battling, he succumbed to the illness at the age of 57 on January 17, 1967. Two men, forgotten by many, but never by the history books. A pairing in their journeys crafted by the boxing gods, consigned by the fate that they would produce one of the finest trilogies the ring has ever seen. I'm Patrick Connor, and this has been the story of Barney Ross versus Jimmy McLarnin.